Adriano, who is way too many years already with me. What is it now, 12 years?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've done everything together from the first day until today. And Adriano will help us tell the story of how we came from the first concept car to the Nevera today.
Yes, let's go ahead.
Let's go. So here it is, the Nevera.
Finally.
For me, it's exactly what I wanted. When I'm looking at it now, it's what I was looking forward so many years. But could you tell us a little bit how you came up with the design concept?
Well, the initial idea with the brand and for our hypercars, electric hypercars, was born more than 10 years ago. So we wanted something that is elegant, compact and timeless. Because this car also has much more power, we wanted it to be more vigorous, more modern of course, and more athletic.
So here we have lots of air intakes in the front, air intakes in the side, and maybe something that's important to explain is that it's a separate powertrain system in the front with a separate cooling system and separate powertrain system in the rear with its own cooling system in the rear. So you had to get a lot of air around the car to cool the rear powertrain, right?
Yeah, the most crucial thing was to set up the front correctly and to have everything dictated by the battery, because to cool down the battery is the hardest thing. The powertrain itself is very efficient, so it doesn't generate too much heat, but the battery is like the biggest radiator we had to integrate.
Which is this one in the middle and getting the air out here.
Exactly, so the battery has the best airflow and has the cleanest air, and everything is of course then also regulated by this flap that moves up and down, and also depending on how much you push the throttle and how much you extract electricity from the battery and how much it actually then heats up is then regulated by this. So you don't have always the best airflow, but also sometimes the most efficient airflow if you want to extend the range.
Then on the sides here you have radiators for the motor and inverter in the front, but they are directly in the airflow but don't generate that much power because the, let's say, majority of the power comes from the rear powertrain. So how was it to channel the air through the side of the car?
So part of the air that feeds the rear radiators goes already through here, but is extracted then behind the rear wheel. And then this air here is mixed again then with the clean air that comes from the side and then is fed into this intake. This intake, as you can see, is very prominent, yeah, and is dictated by these two feature lines that are double curved and point towards the cravat. And our cravat is a very prominent and very proud feature of our heritage and our home country. The cravat has, the cravat is some would say a Croatian invention. And it originates in the 17th century when there was still wars in Europe and Napoleon would attack here and there. And then he would meet Croatian soldiers, and the Croatian soldiers had this special scarf that they would knot in a cravat way. Yeah? And he would call this then cravat. Yeah?
And that's the necktie we know today.
That's the necktie we know today, yeah.
So it's an homage to Croatia.
Exactly. Rather than just using colors and the squares that we know from everywhere else, we decided to do it a little bit more elegant.
And to make it not just for Croatian customers but also worldwide, we have many country flags that can be configured in the colors here on the necktie, connecting the Croatian origin of the car with the customers that will be worldwide.
Exactly. Yeah, it also has integrated lights that show the charging status or the driving mode you're currently in, especially when you come to a track, then this can be activated. And also, yeah, guides the air into where it's the most critical for the rear powertrain. So all the air that gets fed in here goes out through a big channel here and is extracted here. And just like we have on the front, the spoiler also dictates how much air you extract here. So when the spoiler is down, the airflow here is restricted, but when the spoiler is up and even tilted, it generates even more under pressure here, so it pulls even more air out. So also this is a really cool combination of two functions to improve the efficiency and the aerodynamics.
So we have a very usable trunk for that kind of car. And I think
100 liters.
100 liters, which is pretty good. And we have something that dictated the design a lot, which is the door. Because we wanted to have a very easy egress and ingress to and out of the car, to have it also for bigger people, very easy to get in and out, and then have a very comfortable seating.
One key ingredient for a successful hypercar is of course the ingress-egress. you see other cars where people rather look foolish. So we wanted to avoid that. So when you open the door, you know, not only you lift up the sill with it so you can step in, but also you have lots of space around the head so you can get in and out really elegantly. And I would say like this is one of the biggest doors, and also when it opens it transforms the car. You know, the cars all of a sudden it takes a completely different shape.
So we have quite a lot of space, very generous even for somebody who's taller. Can you just explain some key features, Adriano?
We have such a unique powertrain and also unique opportunities to configure it in a completely new way, like no car before. The idea was that we put everything that is important for driving in the primary zone, which is at the same height as the steering wheel, and we generated the idea of the knobs. And you have here knobs where you calibrate the powertrain. Not just that you switch between the modes, but you can also individually change all your setups between the modes and customize it to your liking.
We didn't want to have everything on the touchscreen like many are doing now. The touchscreen for us is quite secondary. The primary functions, as you said, Adriano, here like pure mechanical knobs and switches to control the most important things and to have a physical interaction with the car and to feel like you are really changing something, because changing the modes here or changing the torque distribution front to rear and these kind of things, you really change the character of the car. What we also have here is two cameras. One watching the driver, which can be used to authenticate the driver and enable the driver to drive. The other one is the action camera, which watches what the driver does and watches outside. So we don't want our customers to go on a track and have to think about GoPros and charging them and where to put them and so on. The car comes already with it, along with all the telemetry data, all of the important information that we get from all the vehicle systems. You can record what you are doing and very quickly use the video to upload it to your social media or whatever you want. So we wanted to make very integrated and seamless and very easy to use for the modern generation, which also wants to post about things they do with the car.
And not only practical things, but also luxurious and really precious materials we put where they matter. So we have leather, carbon, Alcantara, aluminum parts.
So I think, Adriano, we achieved what we wanted, which is a hypercar for the road, which has really high performance, but also is a pleasure to drive and use on the road.
Yes, including good visibility, high-tech materials, and a really comfortable seating position.